Hey everyone, Mitch coming with the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got a very exciting, very unique commander for you that is very, very, very budget friendly. Let's jump into it. And that commander is Eluge, the Shoreless Sea. I've seen different ways to pronounce this. I'm going to go with Eluge, like deluge. Regardless, a very exciting, brand new elemental fish that costs, well, 1 blue, 4 mana in total for a star, power and toughness, each equal to the number of islands you control. When it enters or attacks, you get a flood counter on target land. It's an island-ish other types for as long as it's got a flood counter on it. On top of that, though, and this is where it's really spicy, the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue or 1 less to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it. Basically, cost reduction that can get our instants and sorceries down to 0, which is crazy, which is insane, which is so much free, amazing value. Yeah, this is only once per turn. That being said, it's on every single player's turn. The first instant or sorcery on each turn, counter our opponents as well. So yeah, with each trip on the table, we can cast 4 spells essentially for free once we've, got the islands built up in that way, those flood counters on them essentially. Yeah, we can do some really cool things with this one. We can do some really crazy things and powerful things with this one as well. And again, on a crazy low budget. Just $18.73 according to Moxfield, not including shipping or basics, but you might already have those basics, or maybe your LGS has them, or a friend has them for you, or you can buy them in bulk. Regardless, if you are interested in this deck, check out that deck list link in the description below. With that said, though, let's jump into the tactics. First up, tactic number 1, flood warning. Yeah, we've got some ways to get more flood counters on them a little bit quicker because, again, our commander does have that ETB, but also has the attack trigger. Let's talk about some ways outside of that even with Aquatex Will. For a single blue mana, get a flood counter on target land. Cool. And if you control a Merfolk, draw a card. That's nice as well, but more importantly, again, basically the same 1 mana way to permanently reduce the cost of our instants and sorceries as long as our commander is in play, which is absolutely huge. Speaking of which, Splash Portal, basically a blink spell for a single blue mana. If it's a bird, frog, otter, rat, which it's not, we're going to be drawing a card. Don't worry about that. What we care about, again, is a 1 mana blink spell, exile, bring it back again, get that ETB again from our commander. Planar Incision at instant speed. This one can help us do exactly that. And again, keep in mind for these instant speed ones, they can be fantastic on our opponent's turns as that free spell we're going to cast. Basically, get an extra flood counter. Next up, Siren's Ruse. Basically, a blink spell for 2 mana. Again, if you control a pirate, draw a card, don't worry about that. Then we got Teferi's Time Twist. Again, this one is for any permanent, so keep in mind, with these blink spells as well, they can be good ways to save a creature, or with this case, save anything, any of our permanents, from targeted removal for our opponents too. But most of the time, it's going to be utilized for that bounce effect to get that ETB. Blur, a great way to do so. Again, 3 mana, blink something, draw a card, so this replaces itself. Displace, blink 2 creatures, and yeah, again, get their ETBs, and of course, including our commanders. Ghostly Flicker, exile 2 artifacts, creatures, and our lands you control. So this one, we can do our commander, we can do a land, whatever we need to do, essentially. Yeah, we're getting mana back out of this as well, maybe even kind of like ramping in a way as well, thanks to our commander. Then there's Eluge Stratagem, basically, again, blink 2 creatures, also draw a card. So yeah, again, a lot of value to be had with that ETB. But next up, tactic number 2, the golden pig of the deck. And the number 1 card out of 99 is the Flood of Mars, a 3/3 alien zombie that costs 4 mana in blue. Island Walk, whenever it attacks, you get a flood counter on target creature or land. If it's a creature, it comes a copy of the Flood of Mars. And if it's a land, it comes an island or other types. Essentially, you get through with this once just by, swinging all of a sudden, making an opponent's land an island, and now you can just perpetually swing at that player thanks to the Island Walk, and all of a sudden, you just keep getting extra flood counters on your own lands, again, and again, basically doubling up on your commander's attack trigger by having another creature with a great attack trigger as well. The more of those counters we get on, the cheaper our spells are going to be. Yeah, this is a massive card for this deck. Definitely, in my opinion, worthy of the title of Golden Pig. Next up, though, tactic number 3, big benefits. Yeah, we've got plenty of ways to benefit from casting our spells, and casting these spells, we shall, again, on our turn, opponent's turns, lots of things for free. Murmuring Mystic can take advantage of that. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, get a 1/1 Bluebird illusion creature token with flying. So yeah, that can add up a lot throughout the game, making a massive evasive army. Speed of which, Tolerant Sky Summoner, take that up a notch. Now instead of it being a 1/1, it's a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. So again, flood the board with those tokens, go wide, and hit hard. Speed of hitting hard, Niblets of Frost, Prowess, that's nice. So some additional pump effect with this. That being said, though, the important part here is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, tap target creature opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap your controller's next untap step. Being able to shut down our opponent's creatures can be a great way to, well, defend ourselves, number one, keeping their big threats down, keeping their big threats from untapping. That is huge, but also a great way to get through as well. Because again, our commander is a massive heavy hitter. The longer this game goes on, the harder it is going to be hitting, and the more in trouble our opponents are going to be. So yeah, being able to get through on them, that is absolutely huge. We got other ways to get through too, but this is a great one. Moving on, Psychosis Crawler. This one can be a great threat as well. Star, power touch equal number of cards in our hand. That can be massive. Again, we've got so many ways to draw cards. We'll talk about them here in a little bit. That being said, whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. A great finisher for us as well, because again, with that free cast, with all those free casts we're going to be like, okay, draw a spell, your turn, draw a spell, your turn, draw a spell, my turn, draw a spell. All massive draw spells, having a massive hand, drawing into that and draining our opponents. Also, Sphinx Bone Wand. This can just level up so much throughout the game. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may put a charge counter on it. If you do, it deals damage, deal the number of charge counters on it to target creature or player. Take out creatures if you need to, but yeah, take out your opponent's faces throughout the game. You're going to be casting more and more and more in-sorcery spells. Basically, again, every single trip around the table, you're going to cast 4 spells most likely at the least. And all of a sudden, that damage can really add up throughout the game. Speaking of adding up, though, Swarm Intelligence. My goodness, the value. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may copy that spell, but choose your targets for the copy. Yeah, the amount of value this can give us is absolutely absurd throughout the game. Just doubling up every single one of our big, juicy spells. What's not to love about that? Moving on to tactic number 4, though, Super Speedy. Yeah, we've got a lot of great ways to, again, instant speed draw some cards, because your opponent's turns are very valuable for us as well. If we're all just using sorceries, well, we could get a lot of value on our turn, but again, with our commander's cost reduction, we want that instant speed like Frantic Surge. Instant speed for 3 mana in blue, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, untap to 3 lands. My goodness, this is like a ritual effect for us, because again, with our commander, we can cast the thing for free so quickly, and when we do, again, we get to untap 3 lands. So yeah, we can utilize that extra mana in a lot of fun ways. Thirst for Discovery, a very good card as well. Draw 3, discard 2 unless you discard a basic land. Got plenty of basics in this deck as well, so we're good to go there. Beholden Multiverse, scry 2, draw 2. You can also foretell it if you really want to. It's quite a good card. Chemist's Insight, draw 2 cards. You can also jumpstart it again to cast it out of your graveyard when you need that extra card boost. Factor Eviction, just a very solid card. Basically, 5 cards, top library, split them in half. An opponent's going to be, making us select between 2. And all of a sudden, we get, 1/2 into our hand, 1 into our graveyard, whatever we need. Rain of Revelation, draw 3, discard a card for 4. Flow of Knowledge, my goodness, taking advantage of our commander and its flood counters as well. Draw a card for each island you control, to discard 2 cards, 5 mana, instant speed. A massive boost for us. Jace's Ingenuity, draw 3 cards. Very simple, very effective. Precognitive Perception, exact same thing essentially, but if we cast during a main phase, we get to scry 3 first. So that's nice. Opportunity is a great one as well. 6 mana, draw 4. Sudden Insight, 6 mana, draw a card for each different mana value among non-land cards in your graveyard. As you've noticed, yeah, we've got a good amount of different mana values. So yeah, this can be a lot for us, again, for 6 mana, or again, for free essentially. Into the story, cost 3 less gas if opponent has 7 more cards in their graveyard, draw 4 cards. We might not even need that reduction. Again, at a certain point, we're going to be building up so much, we probably have enough flood counters out there that we're going to be like, oh yeah, this is just free for us. Finally, Dig Through Time, this can definitely be free for us. Instant speed, we can delve away some of that cost if we need to. With the top 7 cards of our library, 2 of them go into our hand, the rest go to the bottom of our library in any order. So it lets us dig so far into our deck for what we need. But we are not done digging yet. So tactic number 5, X marks the spot. Some really heavy hitters for us. Read the Runes, a great card to reduce the cost of. Again, with our commander, you can just build up that value to a absurd amount. The more and more flood counters we play, the cheaper this is for us to cost at, an absurd amount of X. Instant speed, draw X cards. For each card drawn this way, discard a cardless check by, say, permanent. This can really work well, essentially, too, once we're set up with maybe some of those token generators as well. Finale of Revelation. X blue, draw X cards. If X is 10 or more, shuffle your graveyard in your library, draw X cards, untap 5 lands. You have no maximum hand size the rest of the game. exile this. So yeah, no maximum hand size is massive for this deck. Also, giant draw spell. Also, untap some lands. This can be a ritual effect for us, too. Pull for tomorrow. Very simple, very effective. Draw X cards. Discard 1 card, instant speed. Silver Scrutiny. It is a sorcery, but you can cast it as Zone of Flash. If X is 3 or less, you can cast it at instant speed. Draw X cards if not. Then there's Commander's Insight. Target player draws X cards plus an additional card for each time you cast your commander for the command zone this game. Yeah, we're most likely going to be targeting us. Drown in Dreams. There's going to be times where you could utilize this on an opponent. Choose one if you control all your commanders. You cast a spell, you may choose both instead. Target player draws X cards. Target player mills twice X cards. Then later in the game, you could potentially mill someone out with this. Even the score, even more reduction for us. If opponents are drawing 4 more cards this turn, this costs 3 less to cast, which is huge. Draw X cards. Then there's Stroke of Genius. Very simple, very effective. X2 and a blue. Target player draws X cards. Yeah, we've got a lot of ways to just dump a lot of mana and a lot of free mana thanks to our commander into these giant draw effects. Next up, though, tactic number 6, wrenches. Yeah, let's throw some wrench into our opponent's plans with things like Icy Blast. A great way to do so. Instant speed for X and a blue. Again, can basically just be a giant free spell for us for those targets. Tap X creatures. If we control a creature power 4 or greater, they don't untap during the next controller's untap steps. Oh my goodness. Yeah, our commander will have, obviously, 4 more power. Tap down opponent's creatures, lock them down for a full turn, and again, swing through with that commander and protect yourself when you need to. You find the villain's lair, very simple, very effective counter target spell, or draw 2, discard 2. So yeah, a free counter spell at a certain point. What's not to love about that? Aether Eyes, bounce back all attacking creatures back to their owner's hand. That can be huge. Again, just if we're tapped out, our opponent's like, what are they going to do? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, my army's gone. Oh no. Consuming time. Speaking of which, each player chooses 1 non-land permanent they control, bounce everything else back. We draw a card for each opponent who has more cards in hand than us. Yeah, we're going to be keeping our commander in play. Our opponents are going to be very upset because their things are going to be gone. They better keep a creature to block, and if not, they're going to be in big trouble. Engulf the Shore. Return to their owner's hands. All creatures with toughness less than equal to the number of islands you control. That can be absolutely massive. And we can actually, again, mitigate, our commander being bounced back to our hand by maybe keeping one of our lands and being a non-island. Not putting a flood counter on it to ensure that our commander can survive this. Wash Out. Turn all permanents of the color of your choice back to those hands. As long as you don't control, you say blue, essentially, you're going to be bouncing everything but your commander that you need to bounce. Then there's Aether Gale. 5 mana, bounce 6 things back to their owner's hands. Aether Spouts, another great Aetherized type effect. For each attacking creature, its owner puts on the top or bottom of their library. So yeah, it's going to be like a Fate Seal, or just like you're never seeing those creatures again if they're on the bottom. Evacuation. Instant speed, bounce all creatures back to their owner's hands. A great panic button for us. And again, our commander only costs 4 mana. It's not that big of a deal to have to recast it. Mystic Confluence, choose 3. You can choose same mode more than once. Counterspell unless they pay 3. Bounce a creature or draw a card. So any combination of these can be absolutely amazing. Flood of Tears, speaking of which, bounce all non-land permanents back to his hands. If we return 4 more non-token permanents this way, put something into play for free. Could be our commander, could be whatever we need. Might be Scourge of Fleets, but probably not after that bounce spell. That being said, enters the battlefield, return each creature opponents control with toughness X to less owner's hand, where X are islands you control. A amazing one-sided board wipe, essentially, that is so repeatable in this deck because, again, we've got ways to, bounce us back to our hand, sure, but also blink effects too, so definitely keep that in mind. Finally, Commit to Memory. Instant speed for 4 mana. Put a spell or non-land permanent into someone's hand second from the top, so it's a great, delay counter spell in a way, or bounce a permanent in a way, or Memory Aftermath. Essentially, each player shuffles their graveyard in hand into their library, draws 7 cards, so a great way for us to reset when we need to. Next up, though, tactic number 7, hit hard, and hit hard we shall. Again, our commander can very easily become a 3-shot KO, then a 2-shot KO, and maybe even a 1-shot KO when Fire Shrieker is involved. Equipped creature has double strike. Yeah, the further and further along the game goes, the more power our commander is going to have. And if our commander has, again, 7 power, cool. Now it's in for 14. Absolutely absurd. If it has 11 power, now it's hitting for 22. That's a 1-shot KO on anyone. So it can be absolutely deadly. Gavel the Righteous. This one can make it even quicker. Beginning of combat, your turn, you get a charge counter on this. Equipped creature gets +1 for each charge counter on it. It's got 4 more counters on it. Equipped creature has double strike. Yeah, that can be absolutely massive. Again, this builds up power, and so does our commander. Can get to that one-shot KO in no time. Brass Knuckles, share the love. When you cast a spell, copy it, so you get 2 copies of it, essentially. When an equipped creature has double strike, as long as there are 2 more equipment attached to it. So, yeah, we can essentially get our commander through, or, yeah, we can get something else through and hit extra hard with this. Moving on, tactic number 8, ramp it up. First up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble. Pay 2 taps, sacrifice, get a basic land into play, tap. Next up, Everflowing Chalice, a very flexible mana rock. Cost 2 taps for 1, 4 taps for 2, etc., etc. Arcane Signet, very simple, very effective. Cost 2, taps for a blue. Mind Stone, taps for a colorless, pay 1 tap, sacrifice to draw a card. Prismatic Lens can filter our mana if we need to, or just tap for a colorless. Sky Diamond enters tap, taps for a blue. Iron Crag, this one is either a mana rock that taps for a single colorless mana, or legendary creature enters, comes in artifact, equipment if we wanted to, and it gives the equipped creature +3/+3, so some extra pump effect there. Decanter Fenless Water, very simple, very effective. No maximum hand size, not as efficient as a mana rock, just tapping for 1 mana for 3. That being said, the maximum hand size is huge for this deck. Sonic Screwdriver, again, great utility. Taps for 1 mana of any color. We can pay 1 to tap to untap no target artifact, 2 to tap to scry 1. Most importantly, though, 3 to tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Make our commander unblockable out of mana rock. Yeah, that's gross. Warden Power Stone, speaking of gross, great value here. Cost 3, enters the battlefield tap, taps for 2. Yeah, very efficient, very effective. Next up, though, tactic number 9, Great Lands. I want to highlight a couple of great lands for this deck because, again, our commander can really take advantage of utility lands by also, turning them into islands with those flood counters, so they can tap for a blue as well. Blast Zone, enters with a charge counter on it, taps for a colorless, pay XX tap, put X charge counters on it, pay 3 tap, sacrifice it, get rid of all those non-land permanents with that many charge counters on them, essentially, that mana value. So yeah, a great way to say, you know what, I've got some removal on a land too if I need it. Bonder's Enclave, taps for a colorless, pay 3 tap, draw a card. Only if you control a creature power 4 or greater, yeah, our commander will easily get to that amount, obviously. Cephalid Coliseum, taps for a blue, but deals 1 damage to us. Oh no, 1 damage. Oh no, I've got 40 life, it's fine. Pay a blue, tap, sacrifice it, target player draws 3, discards 3. A great looting effect for us. Only if you got 7 more cards in your graveyard, but we're gonna have plenty of ways to get to there. Demolition Field, we can pay 2 tap, sacrifice, store target non-basic land opponent controls, and then go get a basic on the battlefield. Then we get to go to a basic as well. Yeah, replace that opponent's Guy's Cradle with something more palatable for us. Rogue's Passage, of course. Make our commander unblockable. What's not to love about that? Scavenger Grounds, we can actually pay 2 tap, sacrifice this desert, exile all graveyards. So again, that one opponent that's really about their graveyard deck, that reanimation deck, you can just shut them down with a land. Soaring Sea Cliff, this one does enter the battlefield tapped, only taps for a blue, but that being said, when it enters, target creature gains flying till end turn. This can be a great, surprising way to make our commander evasive and get through with a game-ending hit. Tired Victim, also a great one as well. 2 tap, target legendary creature becomes a god, get a counter on it. Nice little pump effect there. More importantly, though, 4 tap, sacrifice this, put an indestructible counter target god. Yeah, make our commander indestructible is a great way to protect it throughout the game. But as this episode is coming to a close, I would love to hear from you with your thoughts on this deck. So make sure you comment below. Let me know your thoughts are on it. If you are interested in this deck, again, incredibly budget friendly, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.